Hello and welcome back to another quick tip setup guide for the Helix Stadium. As you guys know from previous videos, the stadium floor is better suited for me. First of all, my expression pedals are movable to the left. I'm left-footed, so I do all my controls with my left foot. And transportability is that's the word. Transportability, yes. So this fits perfectly fine into my mono, gig bag, and I just hop on the plane. I'm good to go. Everything else is just the same, right? So it's perfect. This is the perfect size for me. Anyways, I already had these two pedals, the Eventide H9 Mission Engineering Controller and the Camper Mission Engineering Controller, and I didn't want to buy anything new. I didn't want to buy two new expression pedals. Let's be honest, they're just expression. They don't do much besides sending continuous data up and down, right? So I already had those, and I was like, can I reuse them, right? So from what I read online, and of course within the Line 6 manual, it says connect your unit with a TRS cable to YTS cable, which I have here. Little did I know that in the beginning, and I know, I should have known, but you know how that goes. Sometimes you just do and you just don't think about it. But anyways, this one, the Camper Mission Engineering pedal, only takes TRS cable to communicate. The H9 can do both TRS and TS, which is interesting. So at first, I didn't realize that this only takes TRS. So I try to make it work with my TRS to TS Y cable. Obviously, this one worked perfectly every time. Every time I tried this, it only gave me a portion of the value I was sending, either depending on the polarity, either the bottom half or the top half. So I was like, well, that can't be it. How can I make this work without buying two new pedals, right? So forget about that. If you have any of these, forget about that. So the cool part is that this has an in and an out, and this only has two outs. Two outs mostly to connect, your sweep portion of the pedal and a switch portion of the pedal. Now, the fun part that I found out is that I can put these in series to make them work. Meaning, my TRS cable goes into my input, my out one, and my in goes into my output one here. So, this sends out information into my in, and then this sends both parts of the information back in, which is kind of interesting, right? It's pretty nifty. And you don't even have to do anything. Remember, you go to global settings. The problem, of course, if you can see this, we got our pages, right? We got our switches here. Now you can see, don't be misled, we still have a third page right here, right? So even if there's a blank space here, switch over, you got your expression pedal setup. So we got Control A and Control B for tip and ring, and I'm leaving the polarity the way it is, and I'm not doing it, since I'm not using it as a switch or anything, these don't come up. So this is all you really need to set up for now. So let's just do a proof of concept, right? All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna load in two volume pedals, right? As I said, it's just a proof of concept. We can do more complicated things with all this stuff later. As you remember, all you need to do is you go to your pedal. Now we're just going to go for learn controller, and you move your pedal. So I got my first pedal now assigned perfectly fine. This one was giving me trouble with TS. I would only get 2 to 40, and then if I flip polarity, I would get 60 to 100, right? So makes sense, right? Because you're covering only a certain spectrum. So now I go to this one, and I do the same thing, right? Learn controller, and I move the guy, and here we are. So now I can utilize both of them, right? Isn't that cool? So they are basically in series communicating with the TRS. These are all TRS connections. So this is TRS out into TRS in, and then TRS out one into my A into B expression connector. That's how this works. As I said, if you get other expression pedals that work on tip ring on tip sleeve connectors, then a Y cable is necessary to combine them. If you have some leftover expression pedals, in my case, I have the Camper and the Eventide Mission Engineering versions, I can make them work by simply sending information serially, just like you would do with MIDI, right? You have MIDI in, MIDI out, and you have MIDI through, so you can actually connect them all in series and run them all in one batch instead of like, one device per connection. This is how it works for me. In another video, I'll show you how to set up a couple of other things, but this was the way all this works. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Stick around. Next time I'll show you how to set up a really cool, and I'll give you already a little preview. This is my gigging setup. I have 2 amps here that I can switch back and forth, and 2 different amps. So between clean and distortion, and in between, it's all set up on snapshots. And I got all my pedals lined up. I'll do a walkthrough on how to set this up, and then I'll put up this patch and a template to this, so you can just populate it any way you like for yourself on my Patreon site. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Bye-bye.